Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here. Just got home from the shop and I meant to do this video this morning, so I thought let me just sit down and do it before I get undressed and get comfortable, and I might fall asleep and the whole nine. So yeah, this is going to be my entry into Michael over at Noted and Archived, his 500 subs contest, I believe. Just discovered his channel not too long ago. Someone, I forgot who it was, someone had done a response to his contest and I wasn't quite sure, you know, where it was and all of that, and so I kind of followed it back to Michael's channel and discovered his channel. Also discovered, I guess, kind of a group that he's involved in with an album that I thought was really fantastic. So just, you know, really have an opportunity to actually kind of meet him and sub to his channel, and yeah, I had to jump on board because he had some really fun questions that I wanted to answer. So yeah, let's just kind of jump right into it. Let's see, question or request number one: show an unexpected record you discovered, either a blind buy or something that you had zero previous knowledge about that blew you away. So I really focused on the blew you away part because there's a good chunk of stuff in my collection that I've done blind buys. I just picked up something last night, matter of fact, you know, and all of that, and I liked, but it was like, what's one that actually blew you away? And so the one that came up for me was this one right here, which is Miguel's Kaleidoscope. I'm trying to get it, you can see the Kaleidoscope Dream. And this album, there was someone here in the VC, he still makes videos every now and then, not as frequently as he did. His name was Aseko Funk is his username. And he showed this album one night and was just kind of talking about it. And he used some Prince references and just talked about how great it was and how he was amazed at blah, blah, blah. And knowing him and his past videos and all the music he's into and his collection and the whole nine, when he said that, I was like, okay, there must be something kind of magical there. Try this thing out. And I picked it up and oh my goodness. Those of you that really know me in the VC, let me put it this way to show you why this was the blew me away part. Those of you that know me know on the R&B side, I love my 60s, 70s R&B. Love it. Love, love, love my 80s R&B. 90s R&B, when I get up to somewhere around the mid-90s, 95-ish, 96-ish, R&B starts to lose me a little bit. And spend modern day, like today, a lot of stuff is very, very few and far between for me. So that 96 on back, I cannot get enough of it, could not stop listening to it, my life depended on it. 96, 97 forward, and this album to me saved my belief in that good R&B albums can still come out. And again, most people will listen to this and they won't think it's the soulful type of, I guess, description that most people will apply to R&B. And you'll tell me about all the other great R&B albums out there. I mean, there are good artists, but I'm talking about one that I just listened to and every song blew me away. And I think really what it boiled down to was, on this album, he basically was kind of going back to what made 80s R&B so amazing. So obviously it's going to connect with me. But I listened to this thing, and I mean, just the more I listened to it, the more I was just like, wow, wow, wow. So like almost every single song on it: Adorn, amazing; Don't Look Back, awesome; Use Me, fantastic; Do You, great song; Kaleidoscope Dream, The Thrill, How Many Drinks, Arch and Point. I mean, everything that made 80s R&B so fantastic, he brought back in this album. So this for me was a huge R&B lifesaver for something that came out in the 2000s. And I love that album. I cannot stop listening to it. So the blew me away part, that's it right there. Question number two: show two albums with the greatest polarity, like a wide expanse of genres, or, you know, something like that. He kind of used an example of showing like a black metal album and a solo piano LP or something of that nature. So the polarity I thought I would come up with is, I'll start here with Willie Neal Johnson and the Gospel Keynotes, and this is Rise Again. my absolute favorite song for song, top to bottom gospel album of all time. This album is gospel perfection. I loved it since I was a kid and was listening to it on 8-track, and I've listened to this more than any other gospel album ever. So absolutely fantastic. So trying to find the greatest polarity, I went with Slayer. It's over here like this. God Hates Us All. So I don't think you can be much more different than those two right there, right? In style of music, subject matter, themes, the whole nine. So there we go for that question. Question number 3: show an album you might be embarrassed to own, but you don't care, you love it. I could just kind of take you to one side of my music room, period, and pretty much everything over there would fit in that category. Because there's very little that I'm actually embarrassed to own, which I think we all kind of say that, but we know what someone means when they ask us that question, right? So I could have easily picked, a little Bobby Darwin, or I could have easily picked Enya. I mean, the ton of Enya. I love Enya to death, but I didn't want to pick that because I already know that Michael's an Enya fan, so it might not come across the same way. But anyway, with all this stuff, Justin Bieber, I could have went that route, but I decided to go with my girl, Celine Dion. This is The Color of My Love. Love Celine, love her to death. And this was the first album that really brought me to her, which was the Power of Love. I remember discovering this back in college, kind of by accident, with this girl that I started kind of talking to, and this came on the radio one night, and I ended up getting like the single or something like that, and I would play it a lot, and she was just always like, "Why do you play that song?" So I was like, "'Cause Celine is killing it." But yeah, love Celine Dion. So in the spirit of the question, that's one of the many things that I could show to answer that question. Question number 4: show your most listened to album in your collection, all time or most recently. And I bet, well, never mind. I was gonna say there's a couple people here that could probably actually guess what both of these are. So all time was hard because you think about the different stages you go through in life and how I was really into this, and then later on I was really into this, and I kind of. But I think ultimately, if I think about the all time, it's probably very close between Master of Puppets by Metallica, obviously, but I think this might have the nudge, which is Billy Idol's Rebel Yell. And I kind of gave this the edge because this was the first tape that I ever received or got out of the store. There wasn't a recorded thing off the radio or something. And that was back in 1984, I believe, somewhere around there. I think I was in 5th grade when that happened. So I still have that actual copy to this day. So considering I never get tired of this album, and I do listen to it, as recently as 3 weeks ago, I think, I would think, considering it's the first tape I ever got in 5th grade and all the way up through now, I've probably listened to this more than just about anything else that I possibly have in my collection. And it is one of my favorite 80s albums too. I mean, obviously you have the title track like Rebel Yell, but then Eyes Without a Face, Do Not Stand in the Shadows, Dead Next Door, Crank Call, Catch My Fall. I mean, just all kinds of great stuff on here. Just my man Billy. Now, as far as the most recently listened to album, I'm sure you guys can probably guess this one because I've rant and raved about this album so many times, and I've probably recommended it, not exaggerating, probably at least 3 or 4 times in videos recently. And that is this lovely piece of work right here, Western Stars. I've definitely spun this album in the past few months more so than any other album in my entire collection. And I can't stop. Every time I listen to it, this album gets better and better and better. Bruce just nailed it on this thing. So again, if you haven't heard this before, make sure you check it out. Fantastic songs like Hitchhiking, Wild Horses, Sundowns, Stones, just beautiful pieces. And what a lot of people say about this that are really, into the album, and I think it's very true, you can't listen to it once and feel like, well, I mean, of course I don't want to tell you how to feel, but I'm just saying in general, I don't think you can effectively listen to it once and really get this album. It's one of those albums you have to listen to, a time and maybe another time, maybe another time. What you'll find is every time you listen to it, something new is coming out of it. Really, really fantastic piece. So definitely listen to that more recently than any other thing. Question number 5. What was the first VC video or channel you saw, and what was the most recent VC channel you subbed? Start with the latter part of that. I don't know which one's the most recent because I've had a bit more time over the past 2 weeks to make videos and watch videos and stuff like that, and I've subbed to a lot of new people over the past week or two, so I honestly don't remember who was the last person I subbed to. So I can't really answer that one, but it's probably 4 or 5 names as far as like on the same day. And then the first VC channel I saw, well, again, you have to remember, I started making videos before there was a VC. So when I started making videos, there was one other person who I never connected with. His name was Sean, and I don't think Sean ever really became a part of the VC. He was just doing vinyl videos or talking about some vinyl before anybody else on YouTube really was, but he never really jumped to the VC. So I would say probably the first video that I saw was a guy who did a response to a video that I made. Like I said, I was posting some stuff. A guy by the name of What's Up Hamadi, who never made videos, asked me a question where he said, what were the 5 most influential albums that really kind of guided your musical taste? And I remember spending just like days and days and days thinking of the answer, and I did a video for it. But then there was a guy in Canada, his name was Dan in Canada. He made a video response to that. And that was the first other person that I recall that responded to me about records, that had records, talking about all of that. And quite frankly, like when you really get down to it, that was the first interaction of 2 what's known today as VC members, was Dan and I. So I guess Dan, one of the, who I consider one of the founding fathers of the VC, was the first person I ever saw a video by. He's not around anymore. He actually dropped off about, gosh, maybe 6 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that, maybe a little bit longer. But it's a shame too, though, because Dan was a knowledgeable guy. Younger kid, I shouldn't say kid, maybe younger guy. He was in his mid-20s, maybe late 20s, something like that. He had a band that he was in. I think that was starting to really take off a bit. It had taken up a lot more of his time and everything, so that was one of the reasons why he kind of backed out. But he was one of those guys that just showed stuff all the time, and you were like, huh? Like, what is that? Who is that? But he was into just a lot of different things and very eclectic tastes and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, so Dan in Canada. But anyway, so there you go, Michael, man. Glad I had a chance to jump on board and do a quick response to your contest here. Best of luck with it. Look forward to discovering more on your channel. And again, I think I mentioned in a comment on maybe another video, I really want to get a hold of, I forgot, I think you have a couple albums that I can't remember the name of the one. If you remember from the comment, let me know if you're selling those or if you have any available, because I'd definitely like to have a copy of it. I listened to some bit of it here and it was really cool stuff. So yeah, as always, VC, let me know what you think, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, take care, guys.